Hi. So here we are on the last day of the week, and we are looking at Mark chapter 10. And Mark chapter 10 has an awful lot in it. So I'm not going to have time to actually go through everything. So I'm just going to pick out two little episodes that speak a lot to me. And the first one is how when Jesus is talking and teaching, the disciples are concerned obviously with how tired he gets, and they start filtering who gets access to Jesus or not. They want to prioritize those who really are important enough for Jesus to talk to. And in the society that they are in at the moment, the children aren't particularly high priority. So when the parents bring their children to meet Jesus, because they've encountered Jesus and are really impressed by him, the disciples say, no, stay back. No, he hasn't got time. He's got more important people to talk to. And this actually really angers Jesus. He's upset by this because the whole point of what he's doing is to allow people to encounter God through him. And if there's people that want to meet Jesus, let them meet Jesus. And there's no reason to stop them. It doesn't matter what age they are, it doesn't matter what colour they are, it doesn't matter what status they are. It's all about an encounter with Jesus. So let them come, let them come. And I wonder if at any point in our lives we've been acting as gatekeepers, whether we've thought, well, that person may not get it, and so we won't share with them Jesus, or I don't really like the way they act, or the way they dress, or the language they use. They're far too aggressive. They're not going to be interested in Jesus. Now, our job is not to decide who gets access to Jesus. Our job is just to share Jesus with everyone, because ultimately speaking, it's not us that makes them good Christians. It's the encounter with Jesus, that awesome encounter that changes them. And they will maybe change their language or change their behaviour, but it's because of their encounter with Jesus. And then following that, we have this little story of Jesus' encounter with a rich young ruler. A chap who's been really good, he's followed all the rules, he's done the right things, and he is a genuine God seeker. And that's the type of person that the disciples think should be talking to Jesus. And so he's obviously gained access to Jesus. Jesus listened to him. And interestingly, he doesn't disagree with him. He doesn't say, oh no, actually you've missed out on this, that and the other, and you think you've done all the rules, but you haven't really. Actually, he genuinely seems to care about this and recognise that he is a God seeker. But he also recognises what's holding him back. He is a man of wealth. And when you've invested so much into the physical world around you, you are carrying a weight of responsibility, but also it anchors you to this world. And Jesus is all about connecting you with heaven, all about connecting you with his Father. And he basically tells this guy, you've got to reassign your priorities. Get rid of your wealth, and then you'll be free to follow, truly follow me, follow God, and you will gain eternal life through it. Sadly, this is too much to ask for this young man. But it's all about what priorities you have in life. When you encounter Jesus, your priorities should shift, because then you've truly surrendered your heart to him. The world's worth, the idea of what has worth and significance in this world, is completely turned on its head, because heaven's value system and the earth's value system are completely different. There's this great story in Alpha, on the Alpha course, where a chap goes to heaven and he's a very rich person. He's brought all this money, he's worked really hard all his life, and he says, look, I've brought all this money. And Jesus says, well, that's great, but what are we going to do with it? I suppose we could play Monopoly, because money's not got any value in heaven. And our perspective and God's perspective are very different. So when we encounter Jesus, we should allow him to change our priorities. And we should also not disqualify anyone from that encounter with Jesus, because he values every one of us. Thank you for listening. God bless.